Hi, this is Miss Sandy, and I'm reading Chapter 5, The Least Bit Worried. Kenny stared at the newspaper in disbelief. The town had found out about Graham, and they wanted him exterminated. What was Kenny going to do now? What if it ransacks our harvest? It would be devastating, an old farmer moaned. If that thing burns my crops, I'll get revenge for sure, another sneered, clenching his fists. We could get a posse together and take him out. Who's with me? Well, where is it? Someone else shouted. The paperboy pointed to Kenny and said, "Ask him. It's living on his hill." And he told our whole class about how he knew the dragon firsthand. A hush fell over the group as they turned to look at the boy. A weird, river stone in the mouth, stomach feeling hit Kenny hard, and the lad hopped on his bicycle and pedaled away as fast as he could. Kenny skidded to a stop in front of George's store. The Borough Bookshop was located on a quiet street with little storefronts lining both sides. Fortunately, it looked like no one from the gathering had followed him there. A little bell tinkled as Kenny pushed the door open and slipped into the shop. As the oak door swung closed, he peered through the window one last time to see if he was being trailed, but there was no one to be seen on the cobblestone street outside. As he exhaled and caught his breath, the familiar mixed scent of wood, old leather-bound books, and hot tea greeted him, and he made his way through the dusty labyrinth of dimly lit bookshelves and armchairs. He approached the sales desk, which was cluttered with stacks of books, and peered over the countertop. Charlotte, George's young shop assistant, poked her head out from the little office behind the counter. She was a bit older than Kenny and quite popular around town. Her parents were tailors and lived right next door. She had been helping out at the shop for as long as Kenny could remember. "Hey Kenny, we haven't seen you in a while. How you doing?" "Hi Charlotte, I'm okay I guess." He plopped the borrowed books down onto the counter. "Have you seen George?" Lately, for some reason, Kenny felt a bit shy when he was around Charlotte. In fact, it was hard for him to look at her directly. She had such a big, bright, sparkly eyes that he glanced at her just briefly. Then he had to look down at his feet. "If you can believe it, he's actually gone out," she said with a chuckle. "He had to go down to the post office to sign for some mail. I think it might have been some official royal thingy from the palace." "Huh?" Kenny had heard stories of George's past exploits during his service as a cavalier. For some reason, he couldn't picture his old friend doing the things he often recounted in his tales. He sometimes suspected that they were half fabricated from all the books the codger had read. But George was the smartest fellow in town as far as Kenny was concerned. If anyone would have answers on how best to handle the Graham situation, it would be him. Now, on the one day the boy needed him, he was out. "Hey, did you see the paper today? A dragon, a real live dragon spotted near here. It's unbelievable," Charlotte said as she took the books and sauntered down an aisle. "I heard old Pop's possum saw it drinking from Parish Creek." Great, Kenny thought to himself. Now everybody knows where Graham is. It's just a matter of time before someone else spots him, probably frolicking on the hilltop. What is taking George so long? He hopped along, following Charlotte into the natural history section of the store. "Yeah, I know. Crazy. Hey, can you let George know I'll stop back by tomorrow?" "Aren't you sure you just don't want to hang out and wait? He'll probably be back soon, and I know he's been dying to see you," she said as she put the bestiary back on the shelf. "No," he replied as he glanced at the book. "I've got some stuff I need to take care of." "Okay, you know the shop will be closed tomorrow, but he'll be home," Charlotte said. Then stopped arranging the books. "Hey Kenny, is everything all right?" "I'm okay," he replied. "I just got a lot on my mind." "With a wild monster on the loose, I can understand. But hey, don't worry," the lass said with a smile and big sparkly eyes. "I'm sure everything is going to be just fine." Heading back up the hill, the boy found the dragon with a wreath on his head, reciting lines to a captive audience consisting of Kenny's parents and their flock of sheep, who had by now gotten used to Graham's presence. "Now for thy fairy kingdom, fairies away! We shall chide downright if I no longer stay." With this declaration, the dragon ran around the hilltop, causing the sheep to scatter in all directions. He stopped when he noticed Kenny walking his bike toward him. "Hey there, bantling, you're just in time. You can play Oberon," he said with a toothy grin. "Hello," Kenny replied. He leaned his bike against the trunk of the large weeping willow and trudged over to his parents. He flopped down on the blanket next to them and upset a glass of lemonade. "What is it, Kenneth? What's wrong?" His mom wiped his face with the bottom of her apron. He pulled away from her and reached for his satchel. "This," he answered, and stood up, handing the newspaper to Graham. "What is it, Kit?" his father asked. "What's it say?" "It says," Graham read aloud, scanning the article, "that I am to be exterminated." Kenny's parents exchanged glances. "Look here, the daft scrab misspelled imminent. Ha!" He continued reading the paper, flipping through the pages. "Ooh, look here, word puzzles." "What? Aren't you in the least bit worried?" asked Kenny. "Not at all. There will be no exterminations, imminent or otherwise," Graham replied with a wink. "Now come on, we're getting to the good part of the play." "I'm not feeling very theatrical today. Can I just watch?" "Sure, but I expect a bouquet at the end for my grand performance," the dragon said with a smile. Kenny sat with his parents and continued watching Graham. The Drake carried on, seemingly oblivious to the ruckus that was brewing in town. Kenny's dad quietly relaxed, sipping some lemonade, while his mom knit a potholder. And even though the boy appeared calm, that river-sown stomach feeling had not gone away.